Video link, Bill Ribeiro-Addy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And I want to congratulate the Honourable Member for Dulwich and West Norwood for securing this very important debate. It's absolutely right that today in Parliament we are celebrating the Windrush generation from the Caribbean, from Africa, from Asia. These communities help make the UK what it is today and continue to contribute immeasurable amounts to every single aspect of British society. I was very pleased on Windrush Day to join students at Corpus Christi Primary School on Brixton Hill as they played the steel pans and sung a rendition of You Can Get It If You Really Want by Desmond Dekker. And they had spent weeks learning about the Windrush generation, were very excited to tell me about everything that they learned, including teaching me some things myself. And I was really pleased to join the CARICOM Heads of Mission at the Windrush commemoration at Windrush Square at the African Caribbean War Memorial. That is their very, very important place, I think, especially given the revelation that we've had this year about how disrespected our former Commonwealth officers, members of the military, were treated, who were involved in various world wars. It would be amiss of me not to pay tribute to Arthur Torrington of the Windrush Foundation and acknowledge his organisation's call, which are joined across the country, many of the Windrush generation, to actually have the Windrush Memorial that is planned built Windrush Square, where they believe it rightfully belongs. When the Windrush scandal broke, the apology that the government eventually gave was momentous. It's the first time I know of in my history that the British government apologised so unequivocally on an issue that has been related to a matter of race. And the celebrations that we've had since over the years, the Windrush Day and the acknowledgement of the importance of the Windrush generation to this country are important, but they all mean nothing if we don't end the scandal, which is very much ongoing. Nothing if we don't admit and tackle racial injustice, and they mean nothing if we do not end the hostile environment. We have to remember that the Windrush generation were treated terribly, and some of them have even died before receiving a penny of justice, and many died before receiving that apology. And people were denied driving licenses, homes. They were made unemployed. They were put in immigration detention centres. Some were deported. Others were refused re-entry to this country and are still finding difficulty getting back into this country. Some had their families broke up, and they were British citizens, and this happened to them and to their loved ones. And the scheme, as far as many are concerned, remains unfit for purpose. Too many have died waiting for compensation, and too many have been denied. Since the scheme started in 2019, a total of 2,367 people applied, and 122 of these claims have been rejected, and 22 have resulted in no compensation at all. And to date, only 687 claims have received any payment. Now, despite the Home Secretary's statement that the scheme has fundamentally changed since December, it's very, very clear that this has not been the case. And Martin Ford QC, who was actually the author of the scheme, has even gone on to say that those who deserve compensation think it's a trap. Now, what an indictment on the confidence of the Windrush generation in this government. The scandal continues as Jacqueline McKenzie, a lawyer based in my constituency, who has been holding pro bono legal surgeries for those affected by the scandal at the Black Cultural Archives and elsewhere across the country. She has extensive evidence of persistent failings from the Home Office in administering the scheme, but not just that, registering those Windrush generation members who require their citizenship. It goes on. And it should be no surprise to the government that a number of people have signed a petition calling on the Home Office to amend the scheme, and that the Labour Party are rightfully calling for the scheme to be moved out of the Home Office. We do not honour the Windrush generation if we carry on like this. We do not honour the Windrush generation if we continue to apply the hostile environment, if we continue with our broken immigration and nationality system. How does it say that we've learned any of the lessons of the past if we're about to drive EU nationals into an effective Windrush scandal, with thousands of them probably having not applied for the scheme by yesterday's deadline. It doesn't honour the Windrush generation that in 2019 there were 421,000 children born in the UK who were not registered as British citizens. Some of these, I might add, are the children, the grandchildren of the Windrush generation directly. And that in the same year, 177,000 children raised in the UK for at least 10 years were also unregistered. These children are not migrants, just like the Windrush generation, and they have gone on or will go on if the issue of citizenship fees does not change to experience real life difficulties, continuing to fall victim to the hostile environment when it comes to accessing healthcare, taking up employment, attending at university, renting a home, opening a bank account, all of these things that they should have access to. It doesn't honour the Windrush generation if we continue to push issues of racism out of the way. That the recent race report was an absolute disgrace. In my view, it was a complete whitewash of the institutional racism that the Windrush generation and others have faced and continue to face. To even imply that there may be no issues with institutional racism is a complete disgrace in terms of the experience that people have had. But not just that, I believe it's an attempt to absolve the government of responsibility in tackling it, because if there is no institutional racism, then there is nothing, no duties for the government to impose on institutions. It's just passing the buck as usual. We do not honour the Windrush generation. We do not respect their past when we do not have a plan to change this discrimination that ultimately and undoubtedly could impact and will impact their futures. We do not honour the Windrush generation, in my view, if we do not educate people about the history of slavery and colonialism, which are very much a part of our history as a Britain. It cannot be the case that we choose a history that acknowledges neither of these major events, which are part and parcel of why we are the country we are today, part and parcel of why people in this country experience racism today, and part and parcel of why the Windrush generation and the Windrush scandal happened in the way that it did because of this racism. And it has been so inspirational to see children across my constituency, schools across my constituency, teachers taking up Windrush Day and taking up Black History lessons and actively doing it themselves. But they are not doing this with the support of the government, and that is wrong. And that is despite the recommendations in the Windrush Lessons Learned review. Yes, the government apologised for Windrush Day and has made certain measures which may appear to look like they're going in the right direction, but too many fall short of what is required. So if the government stands true to that apology that they made years ago, if it respects the Windrush generation, if it respects the continued involvement and the continued contribution that this generation and that many others from migrant backgrounds continue to make to this country, it would take stock. It would remove the Windrush compensation scheme from the Home Office where it could be managed properly, or listened to the Windrush generation in terms of where they would like to have their memorial, and it would make active steps acknowledging institutional racism and working to bring it to an end. Thank you.